Liam Carter stood frozen in the doorway of room 51, a work order still clutched in his hand. The billionaire CEO of Sterling Tower, Ariana Sterling herself, stood 15 feet away, mid-change, her blouse half unbuttoned. The alarm shrieked, security boots thundered down the hall. His job, his daughter's stability, everything he'd worked to protect gone in 3 seconds. But then Ariana lifted one hand. Her voice cut through the chaos, cold and certain. "Stop. Don't touch him." The guards froze. She stared at Liam for a long moment, her face unreadable. Someone else was in this room before he arrived. 6 hours earlier, Liam had been in the basement mechanical room replacing a faulty relay switch when his supervisor called. "Carter, you're going up to 51. Liam wiped grease off his hands. 51? That's executive level. Yeah, well, Marcus called in sick and nobody else is available. Air conditioning units acting up in Suite A. Just check the thermostat, swap the filter if you need to, and get out. Don't touch anything else." Liam didn't argue. He'd worked at Sterling Tower for 3 years and had never been above the 20th floor. The building had 62 stories, but the top 12 belonged to a different world. Ariana Sterling's world. He took the service elevator. The ride up was smooth and silent, nothing like the rattling freight lift he used every day. When the doors opened on 51, the hallway was wide and empty, lined with dark wood paneling and soft recessed lighting. No sound, no people, just the faint hum of climate control and the smell of something expensive he couldn't name. The work order said Suite A. He found the door at the end of the hall, swiped his access card, and heard the lock click open. He pushed the door inward. Ariana Sterling stood near the floor-to-ceiling window, her back to him, her blouse halfway unbuttoned. Liam's brain stalled. He didn't move, didn't breathe. She turned. Their eyes met. Then the alarm screamed. Red lights flashed along the ceiling. A computerized voice announced a security breach. Liam stumbled backward, his tool belt clanging against the doorframe, but 2 guards were already there, grabbing his arms, shoving him against the wall. "Hands behind your head. Now." "I had a work order," Liam said, his voice tight. "I was just—" "Shut up." One guard pressed a knee into his back. The other pulled the access card from his belt and scanned it. "This is a basement-level clearance," the guard said. "How the hell did you get up here?" "My supervisor sent me." "I didn't." Ariana's voice cut through the noise like a blade. "Stop. Don't touch him." The guards froze. One of them turned, still gripping Liam's wrist. "Ma'am, he bypassed security and entered your private suite without authorization." Ariana buttoned her blouse, her movements calm and deliberate. She walked closer, studying Liam's face. Her expression gave nothing away. "Someone else was in this room before he arrived," she said. The guard frowned. "Ma'am, the door was unlocked when I came back from my meeting 10 minutes ago. I locked it myself this morning, and the camera above the entrance has been offline since noon." The second guard checked his tablet. His face tightened. "She's right. Camera's been disabled. Timestamp shows 12:14. Ariana looked at Liam again. Her eyes were sharp, assessing. "What's your name?" "Liam Carter." "Your maintenance?" "Yes." "Ma'am, did you disable the camera?" "No. I didn't even know there was one." She studied him for another moment, then turned to the guards. "Let him go." "Ma'am, protocol requires—" I said, "Let him go." The guards released him. Liam straightened, his heart still hammering. Ariana gestured toward the door. "Wait in the hallway. Don't leave the floor." Liam nodded and stepped out. The door closed behind him. He leaned against the wall, trying to steady his breathing. His hands were shaking. Through the door, he heard Ariana's voice, low and controlled, issuing orders. A few minutes later, 2 more guards arrived, followed by a man in a dark suit carrying a laptop. They entered the suite without looking at Liam. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. Finally, the door opened. Ariana stepped out, followed by the man with the laptop. She looked at Liam. "Come with me." She led him down the hall to a smaller room, an office, sparsely furnished with a desk, 2 chairs, and a single window overlooking the city. She closed the door and gestured for him to sit. Liam sat. Ariana remained standing. "The camera was manually disabled," she said. "Someone accessed the system using an old employee account that should have been deactivated 2 months ago. The door lock was also tampered with. It was set to open on any valid access card, not just executive clearance." Liam said nothing. He didn't know what she wanted him to say. "You had a work order," Ariana continued. "I checked with your supervisor. He confirms he sent you. But the work order itself was entered into the system by someone outside the maintenance department. It was made to look legitimate, but it wasn't." "So someone set me up," Liam said. "Yes. Why?" "I don't know yet." She moved to the window, her back to him. The late afternoon light outlined her silhouette against the glass. She was younger than he'd expected. 35, maybe. Her reputation made her seem older. People in the building talked about her the way they talked about storms, something distant and dangerous, something you didn't want to be caught in. "I could fire you," she said. "It would be the easiest solution. You're a liability now. Someone used you to get to me, and I don't know who or why. Keeping you here is a risk." Liam's chest tightened. He thought of Mia, of the rent due next week, of the stability he'd fought so hard to build after the divorce. "I understand," he said quietly. Ariana turned to face him. "But I'm not going to fire you." Liam looked up. "I need someone I can trust," she said. "Someone who isn't part of the executive team. Someone who won't report back to the board or leak information to competitors. You're not involved in this, which makes you useful." "Useful how?" "I'm going to find out who tampered with my security. And you're going to help me." Liam stared at her. "I'm a technician. I fix air conditioning units. You also have access to areas most people don't. You move through this building without attracting attention. And more importantly, you have no reason to protect whoever's behind this." "I also have a daughter," Liam said. "If staying here puts her at risk, it won't. I'll make sure of that." "You can't guarantee that." "No," Ariana said. "But I can guarantee that if you walk away now, whoever set you up will try again. They'll use someone else. And next time, they might succeed." Liam looked down at his hands. They'd stopped shaking, but his pulse still felt too fast. "What do you need me to do?" he asked. "For now, nothing. Go home. Come back tomorrow and work your regular shift. I'll contact you when I have more information." She opened the door. The conversation was over. Liam stood and walked toward the hallway. At the threshold, he stopped and looked back. "Why didn't you let them arrest me?" he asked. Ariana met his gaze. Something flickered in her eyes, something difficult to read. "Because I know what it looks like when someone's actually guilty," she said. "And you're not." Liam left the building at 6:30. The subway was crowded, the air thick with the smell of sweat and brake dust. He stood near the doors, gripping the handrail, replaying the conversation in his head. He thought about quitting, about walking into his supervisor's office tomorrow and handing in his resignation, about finding another job, something safer, something that didn't involve billionaires and security breaches and people who wanted to destroy things he didn't understand. But he also thought about Ariana's face when she'd said, "I know what it looks like when someone's actually guilty." There had been something in her voice, something old and buried. The train lurched to a stop. Liam got off and walked the 4 blocks to his apartment. It was a small 1-bedroom in a building that smelled like mildew and fried food, but the rent was manageable, and the landlord didn't ask questions. Mia was waiting for him at the kitchen table, her homework spread out in front of her. She was 7 years old, small for her age, with dark curls and eyes that saw too much. "You're late," she said. "I know. Sorry." "Kiddo, did something happen?" Liam set his tool belt down and washed his hands at the sink. "Just a weird day at work." "Weird how?" "Boring adult stuff." "You finish your math?" "Yeah." "Can we have pizza?" "We had pizza yesterday." "So," Liam smiled despite himself. "So we're having spaghetti." Mia groaned, but she helped him set the table. They ate in comfortable silence, the television murmuring in the background. Afterward, Liam helped her get ready for bed, read her a chapter from the book they'd been working through, and turned off the light. He sat on the couch in the dark, staring at the blank screen of the television. He thought about Ariana's office, about the way she'd stood at the window, her back straight, her voice steady even though someone had invaded her space, about the way she'd looked at him and decided he wasn't a threat. He thought about the choice she'd given him, stay and help, or walk away and let someone else take the fall next time. Liam closed his eyes. He'd already made his decision. The next morning, Liam arrived at Sterling Tower at 7:15, the same time he always did. He swiped his badge at the employee entrance and took the freight elevator down to the basement. His supervisor, Marcus, was already there, drinking coffee from a chipped mug. "You good?" Marcus asked. "Yeah, fine. Security called me last night. Said there was some confusion yesterday. It's handled." Marcus studied him for a moment, then nodded. "All right. You've got a backlog of tickets. Start with the 4th floor break room." Sinks leaking again. Liam grabbed his tool belt and headed out. The day passed the way it always did, fluorescent lights, clogged drains, thermostats that didn't work. He kept his head down and his hands busy. Nobody mentioned the 51st floor. Nobody looked at him differently. At 3:45, his phone buzzed. Unknown number, 51, Suite B. Now. Liam locked his toolbox and took the service elevator up. The hallway was empty. Suite B was 2 doors down from Suite A. He knocked. Ariana opened the door. She was wearing a charcoal suit, her hair pulled back. She looked like she hadn't slept. "Come in." The suite was smaller than her office, set up like a conference room with a long table and a wall-mounted screen. A laptop sat open at one end, displaying lines of code Liam didn't understand. Ariana closed the door and gestured to a chair. "I found the employee account that was used to create your work order," she said. "It belonged to a man named Derek Holloway. He worked in IT until he was let go 2 months ago for policy violations." "What kind of violations?" "Accessing files he wasn't authorized to see. He was trying to gather information on executive communications. We flagged it during a routine audit." "So he's angry. He wants revenge." "Maybe, but he didn't act alone. The door tampering required physical access to the locking mechanism. Holloway was escorted out of the building the day he was fired. He hasn't been back." Liam leaned back in his chair. "So, someone on the inside helped him?" "Yes." "Do you know who?" "Not yet, but I'm going to find out." Ariana turned the laptop toward him. The screen showed a security log, rows of timestamps and badge numbers. "I need you to cross-reference these entries with the maintenance schedule," she said. "Anyone who had access to the 51st floor in the last month. I want to know who they are, what they were doing, and whether their activity matches their assigned tasks." "That's a lot of data." "I know. Can you do it?" Liam looked at the screen. He wasn't an analyst. He fixed things. But he understood systems, understood how buildings worked, how people moved through them. "Yeah," he said. "I can do it." "Good. Use this laptop. Don't access the data from any other device, and don't tell anyone what you're working on. Not even my supervisor? Especially not your supervisor." Liam frowned. "You think Marcus is involved?" "I don't think anything yet. That's the problem." She handed him a keycard. "This gives you access to Suite B. Work here when you can. If anyone asks, you're doing an extended HVAC inspection." Liam took the card. It was heavier than his regular badge, made of black plastic with a silver magnetic strip. "How long do you think this will take?" he asked. "As long as it needs to." She closed the laptop and stood. The conversation was over. Liam left the suite and took the stairs down, avoiding the elevator. His mind was already sorting through the pieces, timestamps, access logs, patterns. It felt like troubleshooting a broken circuit. Find the fault, trace it back to the source. He spent the next 3 days splitting his time between regular maintenance work and the data analysis. He'd finish a job, then slip up to Suite B and spend an hour combing through logs. Ariana came and went, sometimes staying to work beside him in silence, sometimes leaving him alone. She didn't talk much. When she did, it was only about the investigation. But Liam noticed things. The way she held her coffee cup with both hands, like she needed the warmth. The way she stood near the window when she was thinking, her gaze distant. The way she flinched, just slightly, when someone knocked on the door without warning. On the fourth day, he found something. "There's a pattern," he said. Ariana looked up from her laptop. 3 people accessed the 51st floor outside their normal duties in the last month. Liam continued. 2 of them were contractors doing scheduled inspections. But the third badge, number 7294, came up twice. Once at 11:30 at night. Once at 6 in the morning. "Who is it?" "I don't know. The badge is registered to a generic maintenance account. It's supposed to be used for emergency repairs, but there's no record of any emergency work orders on those dates." Ariana pulled the laptop toward her and typed quickly. Her face darkened. "That badge was deactivated a year ago," she said. "It shouldn't be working at all. Someone reactivated it." "Yes. Someone with administrative access to the security system." She closed the laptop and stood, pacing to the window. Liam watched her, sensing the tension coiling tighter. "This isn't just about revenge," Ariana said quietly. "Someone's been planning this for a long time." "Planning what?" She didn't answer right away. When she spoke again, her voice was carefully controlled. "I need to check something. Stay here." She left the suite. Liam sat in the empty room, the silence pressing in. He thought about calling Mia, checking in, but his phone felt too exposed. He didn't know who might be listening. Ariana returned 20 minutes later. Her face was pale. "There's going to be a board meeting tomorrow," she said. "Emergency session. Someone leaked a financial report that makes it look like I've been mismanaging company assets." "Have you?" "No. But the numbers have been altered. It's convincing enough to raise questions." "Can you prove it's fake?" "Eventually. But by the time I do, the damage will be done. The board will vote on my position. If I lose their confidence, I lose control of the company." Liam stood. "What do you need me to do?" "Nothing. This is beyond." The lights went out. The sudden darkness was absolute. No emergency lighting. No glow from the laptop screen. Just black. Liam heard Ariana's breath catch, sharp and involuntary. "Stay where you are," he said. "I'll find the breaker." He pulled out his phone, using the flashlight to navigate toward the door. But when he tried the handle, it didn't move. "It's locked," he said. "That's not possible. The locks are electronic. They default to open during a power failure." Liam tried again. The door didn't budge. He turned back toward the room, sweeping the flashlight across the space. Ariana was standing near the window, her arms wrapped around herself. Her breathing was too fast. "Hey," Liam said gently. "It's okay. I'll get us out." She didn't respond. He moved closer, keeping his voice low and steady. "Ariana, look at me." She didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on something he couldn't see. Liam recognized the signs. He'd seen it before, in his ex-wife's sister after the car accident. Panic attack, dissociation, the body's emergency response when the mind couldn't process the threat. He set his phone down, the light pointing upward, and stepped into her line of sight. "You're safe," he said. "I'm right here. Nobody's going to hurt you." Ariana's gaze flickered toward him, unfocused. "Breathe with me," Liam said. "In through your nose, out through your mouth. Just like that." He demonstrated, exaggerating the motion. After a moment, Ariana mirrored it. Her breathing slowed, but her hands were still trembling. "Good," Liam said. "Keep going. You're doing great." He moved to the door and examined the lock mechanism with his flashlight. It was a magnetic system, powered by the building's electrical grid. But there was an emergency release on the inside, a manual override that should work even without power. He found it behind a small panel near the doorframe. He flipped the latch, and the lock disengaged with a soft click. The door opened. The hallway beyond was dark, but faint emergency lighting glowed near the stairwell exit. Liam turned back to Ariana. She was still standing by the window, her breathing more controlled now, but her face was tight with effort. "Power's out for the whole floor," he said. "Maybe the whole building. I need to check the electrical room. Can you make it to the stairwell?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. Liam picked up his phone and guided her into the hallway. The emergency lights cast long shadows. Somewhere below, he heard voices, footsteps, the metallic clang of doors. "Wait here," he said. He moved quickly down the hall to the electrical panel near the elevator bay. The panel was locked, but he had a master key on his belt. He opened it and shone his light inside. The breaker for the 51st floor had been manually tripped. Not a power failure. Sabotage. Liam reset the breaker. The lights flickered on, harsh and sudden. The ventilation system hummed back to life. He returned to Ariana. She was leaning against the wall, her eyes closed, her composure slowly reassembling itself. "Someone cut the power on purpose," Liam said. Ariana opened her eyes. The fear was gone, replaced by something colder. "They're escalating," she said. "Yeah, they wanted to trap me, make me vulnerable, or test your response, see how you'd react." She looked at him, and for the first time, he saw something unguarded in her face. Gratitude, and something else. Trust. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Don't mention it." She straightened, pulling herself together. "We need to move faster. The board meeting is tomorrow at 10. If I can't identify who's behind this by then, I won't be able to stop them. Then we work through the night." Ariana met his gaze. "You don't have to do this." "Yeah, I do." They returned to Suite B. Liam pulled up the security logs again, cross-referencing every anomaly, every badge swipe, every maintenance ticket. Ariana worked beside him, tracing financial records, comparing timestamps. At midnight, Liam's phone buzzed. A text from the neighbor who watched Mia after school. "Everything okay? You're usually back by now." Liam typed quickly. "Work emergency. I'll pick her up in the morning, thanks." He set the phone down and kept working. At 2 a.m, they found another connection. The deactivated badge had been used to access the server room 3 days before the incident in Suite A. The access log showed a file transfer small, only a few megabytes, but significant. "What's on the server?" Liam asked. "Everything. Financial records, employee files, security protocols. So whoever used that badge copied files before they made their move." "Yes. And they're going to use those files to destroy me at the board meeting." Ariana stood and walked to the window. The city stretched out below them, dark except for scattered lights. Her reflection was faint in the glass. "I need to tell you something," she said. Liam waited. "When I was 23, I worked for a venture capital firm in New York. My boss was a man named Richard Crane. He was brilliant, charismatic. Everyone wanted to work for him." She spoke without turning around, her voice distant. "He was also a predator. He targeted young women in the company, isolated them, made them dependent on him, and then he used that dependence to control them." Liam felt something cold settle in his chest. "I was one of them," Ariana continued. "For 8 months I thought I was special, thought he cared about me. By the time I realized what he was doing, I was too afraid to leave. He'd made sure I had no credibility, no allies. If I spoke up, he'd destroy my career before it started. What happened? I left anyway. Filed a complaint with HR. They investigated, found nothing. Crane was too careful, too connected. I lost everything. My job, my reputation. For 2 years, I couldn't get hired anywhere in the industry." She finally turned to face him. "I rebuilt from nothing, started my own firm. Made my first million by the time I was 30. Built Sterling from the ground up, piece by piece, until I had something nobody could take away from me." Her eyes were steady, but Liam could see the cost behind them. "That's why I don't trust easily," she said. "That's why I keep everyone at a distance. Because I know what happens when you let someone too close." "I'm not him," Liam said quietly. "I know. But the instinct is still there. The fear. It doesn't go away just because you want it to." Liam stood and crossed the room, stopping a few feet from her. "When the power went out," he said, "you froze. Not because you're weak, because your body remembered something it didn't want to remember. Ariana looked at him, something shifting in her face. I get it, Liam continued. I'm not going to push. I'm not going to ask for more than you can give. But I'm also not going anywhere. Not until this is finished. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Ariana nodded. All right. They worked until dawn. By the time the sun rose, they had a list of suspects, 3 names, all with access to the systems that had been compromised. One of them was a senior analyst in the IT department. Another was a member of the board's Security Oversight Committee. The third was someone Liam had never heard of. Trevor Marsh, a night shift facilities coordinator who'd worked at Sterling Tower for 6 years. At 9:30, Liam's phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. He opened the message. It was a photo. Ariana standing by the window in Suite B, Liam's arm around her shoulders, steadying her in the dark. The angle was wrong. Too high. Taken from somewhere above. The text below it read, "See you at the meeting." Liam showed Ariana the screen. Her face went pale. "They were watching," she said. "Yeah, they're going to use this. Make it look like we're—" "I know." Ariana closed her eyes. When she opened them again, her face was hard. "Then we end this now." The boardroom on the 62nd floor was built for intimidation. Floor-to-ceiling windows on 3 sides, a table long enough to seat 20, and chairs that cost more than Liam made in a month. He'd never been up here before. He'd never imagined he would be. Ariana walked in first. Liam followed 2 steps behind, carrying a tablet and a folder of printed documents. The board members were already seated, 9 of them, men and women in tailored suits, their expressions ranging from curious to hostile. At the head of the table sat a man in his 60s with silver hair and a face like carved granite. He looked at Ariana with the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Miss Sterling," he said, "thank you for joining us. And I see you've brought a guest." "This is Liam Carter," Ariana said. "He's assisting me with a security matter that directly concerns this meeting." "A maintenance worker," the man said. "How unusual." "His clearance has been upgraded," Ariana replied. "He has my full authorization to be here." The man's smile thinned, but he gestured to 2 empty seats. "Very well. Let's begin." Ariana and Liam sat. The man introduced himself as Robert Klein, chairman of the board. He didn't waste time. "We've called this emergency session to address serious concerns about financial irregularities within the company," Klein said. "A report was brought to our attention 3 days ago showing unauthorized transfers totaling $4.2 million from operational accounts into offshore holdings. The transactions were approved using your executive access codes, Miss Sterling." He slid a folder across the table. Ariana opened it, scanned the first page, and closed it again. "These transactions are fabricated," she said. "The documentation appears legitimate, because someone with administrative access altered the records. The same person who's been targeting me for the past 2 weeks." Klein leaned back in his chair. "That's a serious accusation. Do you have proof?" "Yes." Ariana nodded to Liam. He opened the tablet and connected it to the wall-mounted screen. The display lit up with a security log. 2 weeks ago, Ariana said, someone used a deactivated employee badge to access restricted areas of this building. The badge belonged to Derek Holloway, a former IT analyst who was terminated for attempting to steal confidential information. But Holloway didn't act alone. He had help from someone inside the company. She advanced to the next slide. It showed a series of timestamps and badge numbers. "This is the access log for the 51st floor," Ariana continued. "It shows 3 unauthorized entries in the past month, all using a maintenance badge that was supposed to be inactive. That badge was used to access the server room, where files were copied and financial records were altered." Klein frowned. "Who activated the badge?" "Someone with administrative privileges in the security system. Someone on this board's Security Oversight Committee." A woman near the center of the table shifted in her seat. Her name was Patricia Dennison, and she'd been on the board for 8 years. "That's absurd," Dennison said. "Are you suggesting one of us is involved?" I'm suggesting that someone with your level of access facilitated this attack, Ariana said. Whether knowingly or through negligence, I don't yet know. This is outrageous, Dennison snapped. You're deflecting blame to save yourself. I'm presenting facts. Klein raised a hand. Miss Sterling, these logs are interesting, but they don't explain the financial transfers. Even if someone tampered with security, you're still the one with executive authority over those accounts, which is why they targeted me specifically. They needed someone with access they could frame. Or, Klein said slowly, you made those transfers yourself, and now you're creating an elaborate cover story. Ariana's face remained calm, but Liam felt the shift in the room. The board members were leaning toward Klein's interpretation. They wanted a simple answer. A guilty party. Someone to blame. Klein reached into his briefcase and pulled out an envelope. He placed it on the table, facing Ariana. Before we continue, he said, I think the board should see something else. This was delivered to my office this morning by courier. No return address. He opened the envelope and slid out a photograph. It was the image from the text message. Ariana standing by the window, Liam's arm around her, the two of them alone in the dark. This was taken last night, Klein said. In Suite B on the 51st floor. At 2 a.m, the room went silent. Care to explain? Klein asked. Ariana looked at the photo. Her face was calm, but Liam could see the tension in her shoulders. There was a power outage, she said. Mr. Carter was helping me evacuate safely. At 2 a.m, in a private suite, with the door locked. We were working on the security investigation. Or, Klein said, you were working on something else entirely. Liam felt his chest tighten. This was the trap. Not the financial records, not the access logs. This, the insinuation, the photograph that made everything look like something it wasn't. Ariana stood. Her voice cut through the murmurs like a blade. You want to know what happened in that room? She said. Fine, I'll tell you. The board members fell silent. Last night, Ariana continued, someone deliberately cut power to the 51st floor and tampered with the electronic locks to trap me in Suite B. The same person who's been orchestrating this entire attack. They did it to see how I would react, to see if I would panic. She walked to the window, her back to the room, then turned to face them. When I was 23, I was sexually assaulted by my supervisor at a venture capital firm in New York. For 8 months, he isolated me, manipulated me, and used his position to make sure I couldn't fight back. When I finally tried to report him, he destroyed my career. It took me 2 years to recover. 2 years to rebuild my life from nothing. The room was completely still. That's why I don't trust easily, Ariana said. That's why I built this company the way I did, because I needed control. I needed to make sure that what happened to me would never happen again. She gestured to the photograph. When the power went out, I had a panic attack, a response to trauma that I've carried for over a decade. Mr. Carter helped me through it. He kept me calm. He got the door open. He made sure I was safe. That's what you're seeing in that photograph. Not an affair, not impropriety. A decent man helping someone who needed it. Klein's face was difficult to read. Miss Sterling, I'm not finished. Ariana walked back to the table and placed both hands on the surface, leaning forward. Whoever sent you that photograph knew about my history. They knew exactly how to use it against me. They've spent weeks building a narrative designed to make me look weak, unstable, and unfit to lead this company. But they made one mistake. She nodded to Liam. He advanced the tablet to the next slide. It showed a server log, time-stamped from 3 days ago. This is a record of the file transfer that created the fake financial report, Liam said. The transfer was made from a terminal in the facilities office at 11:47 p.m. The user account belongs to Trevor Marsh, a night shift coordinator who's worked here for 6 years. Dennison frowned. Who? Trevor Marsh, Ariana said. He has master access to every restricted area in this tower, including the server room. Nobody questions maintenance workers. They're invisible, and Marsh used that invisibility to help Derek Holloway sabotage my security and frame me for financial.